So it's going to give it a couple minutes and then we will get started. Hey, what's going on, Ghost Rider? Good to have you here. Let me go ahead and pop out the chat so you guys can see it. Let's give another couple minutes and let everyone get in here. All right, what's going on? EF 2009, Trader Luffy, Dr. Profit, Botified, Shocker King. Good to see you guys here. What's going on? Hootie, Sala, Jerome, Victor. A lot of good people in here, a lot of regulars. Love to see it. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Got the blood moon today. Got a lot of volatility happening in the market. Figured I'd do this stream here. It's going to be, again, how to identify strong performers. So it's going to help you guys determine what tokens are performing well versus which ones you should be bidding on, which ones you should be staying away from, etc. So it's basically a lot of things that I've seen people have issues with. So we'll cover that. It's going to be a nice PowerPoint presentation, and you guys are going to learn a lot. So definitely stay tuned for that. What's going on, Nick, Atwa, Adrian, Stefan, Raf, Lupario, Greg, Amir, MB Flash, Veer. A lot of good people here. All right. Victor says he's at work listening right now. I love it when you guys are at work, just passing the time. What's going on, Adrian? Good to see you. Let's see. And absolutely, Raf. It's very true. See, Ghost Rider says, should I still put my trust on the Pengu trade? I did my own research and found that it's best to hodl, but would love to know your POV. Yeah, so the Pengu trade, I would say you could put a trade, if you could find it at 2.5 cents or even 2.7 cents and DCA down with stop loss around 2.4 cents. That'd probably be a good trade for Pengu. I know it's going to do good in Q4, so that's something to just keep in mind. Oni, what's going on? He says, thoughts on XVM? No thoughts on that currently. Dr. Profit said, updates on XRP. No thoughts on XRP currently. I think someone was talking about they're getting integrated with gaming. I'll have to look at that. Sprocco says, yo, 10 bill to get liquidated at 118K and 20 bill to get liquidated at 125K. Sprockos, I'm looking at that as well. With it, thank you for reminding me. That's going to be good, especially if it coincides with a breakout via our inverse head and shoulders pattern. So that'd be very, very good to see. Giorgio, what's going on? Good to see you here. Ali Lou, Emery, Philip, Don, Benny, Christian, Kellerman. Good to see you guys here. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and get this stream started. So, like I said, the stream is going to be how to identify strong performers in crypto. Now, during this stream, we're going to cover a lot of things, okay? The market's highly volatile, but strong performers share common traits. So we're going to cover market fundamentals, on-chain metrics, community and sentiment, technical indicators, risk management, and more. So stay tuned. It's going to be a great one. Now, for market fundamentals, so key factors for these when you're identifying a strong performer is, does it have clear use case and utility? And what I mean by that is there a proper flywheel in place that is going to give people a reason to buy it, to have that price appreciation, right? And so if people don't see a clear use case for the token or there's no utility for it, then they're probably not going to buy it. And something here where I want to talk about a certain token in general is hype. So Hyperliquid. Their flywheel that they have in place is that they buy back their token whenever there's a lot of liquidations, or they make money from fees. They use that to buy back the token. That's why it does fairly well during downturns. And so that's why Hype has been doing so well, because they have that buyback flywheel, and there's actually a utility case for it. So when you have something that's clear cut like that, and they have good, even tokenomics, right? That's more so falls into that field with strong tokenomics for the second bullet, where you have, it's not a burn mechanism per se, but it's a buyback mechanism. So you have supply, demand, and burn mechanisms there. But when you have a token that has those, that's where it becomes the first ingredient to becoming a strong performer. So again, clear use case and utility, and then strong tokenomics. Now, diving into this a little bit for strong tokenomics, meaning, does that token have a good vesting schedule? So the team, do they have a 1-year cliff and then they have a 2-year vesting after that? that's a good vesting schedule, right? Because you know there's not going to be a lot of sell pressure. Now, what's the tokenomics as far as their distribution to influencers or KOLs? Did they distribute, let's say, 10% of the supply to different KOLs? And what's the vesting schedule for those people? Can they dump the token on TGE? Are they only 20% unlocked on TGE, right? That's why I always say wait for the initial dump on these pre-sale tokens, because usually they will. Usually there's influencers who get supply, then they dump the token immediately. So guys, make sure you're practicing that risk accordingly and putting in the time to study what the tokenomics are, especially on a new token. Now also, experienced and transparent team. So does the team have a good background? Meaning, did they go to Harvard, Stanford? Did they used to work at Y Combinator, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, NVIDIA, etc.? What place or what background did they have? And is there a good reason for this project to do well? Because a lot of teams, they're anonymous, right? And I tell people, always be cautious when investing in anonymous teams. And one of the reasons for that is because if you're investing in an anonymous team, well, it's just more unknowns, right? Unless that team is part of, let's say, a big influencer backs them, or they're known well in the community, or they have a history of doing well in the past. At that point, okay, fine, you can invest in an anonymous team. But 9 times out of 10, it's always better to find a doxed team, someone that's known, and someone that actually has credentials to back it up. And therefore, that can help with the strong performers. Then also you have strategic partnerships and integration. So what companies are backing these projects? Is it Coinbase Ventures, Binance Labs? Is it other people that are backing these projects, or do they barely have any backers, therefore the risk is much, much higher, right? So that's something you need to look for as well, is not only the team and their experience, but also what kind of backers are backing that project and what kind of partnerships that they've had. The next, we have on-chain metrics. And so you're analyzing blockchain data to gauge strength. And so you have active address growth. Now, this is something you can look at, for example, when you're tracking smart wallets, like on Nansen AI. And so are there a lot of whales that are purchasing that token? Have they started accumulating? Is there some big announcement that's going to happen, right? You have to be able to look at these various metrics to be able to know, okay, yeah, I think we're going to do well here or not. And then also transaction volume and velocity. So this is something very important, because say you're looking at a meme coin, and this is something we'll go into as well when we talk about memes specifically here. But how's the volume look? Is there a lot of volume, even exchange volume? Is there, $10 million worth of exchange volume, hundreds of millions of dollars worth? Or is it only maybe $100,000 worth on exchange, and there's barely any interest at that point? Or you're just extremely early. So that's something you have to look at as well, is how much volume is at play here, and what's the liquidity like, and what's the velocity of it? So are there transactions coming through every couple minutes, every 30 seconds, or is it every 20 minutes or 30 minutes? Is there not that much interest? So that's something you have to watch out for. Also, we already talked about liquidity and exchange flows. Developer activity on the GitHub. So how's the repository look? Does the coding look good? Are they constantly updating it? Are they, has it been active for a while, or is it fairly new? That is something you have to look out for, because if a repository is fairly new and there's not a lot of activity, well, that's a first red flag, because at that point, are they even focused on the project at all, or is there something else happening, right? So you need to deduce for yourself if that's the right path to go, if you're going to invest, or you're going to take a hands-off approach and wait and see what happens. And next, if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll answer them accordingly. Probably after another few slides, I'll look at some questions. But community and sentiment. So this is another big one. And this is more towards memes for identifying strong performers. So first, look at the engagement on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. This is a big one too, because a lot of times people will just look at the tokenomics, look at the partnerships, and that's it. But you need to dive into how the socials are ran. Not only on Twitter, are they talking about price all the time, which is usually red flag, or are they consistently updating about certain catalysts that they have, or certain other partnerships that they have? How's their Telegram and Discord? Are the moderators answering questions, or are they making fun of their members, right? That matters a lot as well. And so is everything structured, or is it very off the cuff and there's no rhyme or reason to it? Next, you look at meme culture and viral potential. So is this a meme that's been on TikTok and is very viral and it has staying power? Or is it something that's based off of one singular event and it's probably going to blow over in a day or two, and then because we live in a rotation heavy market, so people are going to forget about it next week, right? What is the meme culture? What is the virality of it? Can it last? The next, you have influencer and KOL support. So are there a lot of big influencers supporting it? And have they been accurate in the past? Are these influencers that have strong pull, or are these influencers that constantly scam their followers and just dump on them? So you need to be able to delineate who is promoting this token. That would help you determine if it has staying power and if there's a lot more in the tank. For example, for Overdose is a great influencer. The Bonk guy is a great one. Even Soulport Tom. Like if you have in confluence with all these big influencers supporting a token, usually it's going to last more than a couple days. And then lastly, media coverage and perception. So has the token been on the news? I mean, bigger examples of this are like Doge, right? When everyone was talking about Dogecoin. Or you had other ones where there's some articles coming out about Fartcoin or any of the others, right? Any of these memes that have virality, these are ones where you can actually look at and say, okay, there's a lot of perception, there is a lot of media coverage on this, and it will stay hyped at least for the next few weeks or what have you. So this is a lot of things you can actually have on your checklist to know if memes are going to do good or not when looking at those for strong performers. Now, going over to the technical side here, this is things that I like to use. You know, it's no surprise, I love to use the relative strength index, the RSI. Also moving averages, so the 200 EMA and the 50 EMA. That's something I watch as well. And then also volume trends. Is there good volume? Is there breakouts that actually retest their previous resistance as support and respect those levels before continuing higher? That's actually a really good indication of a strong performer. And then also one of the most important is charting trading pairs. So Sol BTC, ETH BTC, Sol ETH, Bitcoin dominance, etc. This charts the coin against Bitcoin. So for example, how has Solana performed against Bitcoin? If you go into TradingView and just type in SOL BTC, it'll actually pull up the chart. And if it's in a downtrend, it means Sol has been underperforming BTC. If it's in an uptrend, it means Solana has been outperforming BTC. So you can use these charting pairs to actually chart when breakouts are going to happen. Just like when Ethereum started outperforming Bitcoin when it got to near $2,000 and $2,500. And if you had been looking at the ETH BTC chart, you'd have seen that, okay, ETH is starting to outperform now. This is good. I'll start betting on ETH from a dollar perspective. So that's just little hacks you can do. And looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart when it's breaking down, say, okay, Bitcoin dominance is breaking down, alts should do well from here. Again, just different ways you can help identify these different trading pairs. And also, we have 63 viewers, but only 17 likes. If you guys could like the stream, that would be amazing. It would help spread Gym Hunters to the masses. Be greatly, greatly appreciated, guys. Now, let's go ahead and answer some questions here. So let me go ahead and see who's got questions on this. So let's see. Let me see who I can. Greg says, John Luke, hope you're doing good. Appreciate it. What's going on, Philip? Awesome. A lot of good people here. Botified says, when setting TP, Brome's good to see as well. When setting TP and stop loss, are you looking to get certain percentage or just wherever there's resistance or support? Yeah, Botified, the second, the latter. So I'm looking for whenever there's resistance and support. So for example, say on Solana, say I'm setting along at $200. Well, 200, around 198 to 200 is fairly good support. So how far has it wicked down below that support in the past, but still closed above it on the daily? If the lowest it's wicked down is 195, then I'll put my support at 194. So I make sure to put my stop loss below that support. And then once you found that support level, what percentage of that away is that from your entry? So for example, if you enter Solana at 200 and your support is at 194, then at that point, okay, so you have, what is that, 3% away? So if you're willing to lose 30%, then at that point you can say, okay, if I'm willing to lose 3% on my stop loss, then I'm willing to lose 30% on the token, I'll trade 10x leverage, and that gives me a 30% loss. So that's something to definitely watch out for, guys, is making sure that you are watching those certain metrics and making sure you're placing your support below it. What's going on, Christian, Claudio? Good to see you. Maya, good to see you here. James says, Yo, CD, what's good? How do you think the inflation data this week affects crypto? It's going to be a great question, James. And so we're watching and we're waiting for the interest rate cut September 17th, which we know we're going to happen now. Nearly 100% certainty. The uncertain part is how much, right? Is it going to be 25 basis points or 50 basis points? 50 is gaining some traction. I think it was 16% last I checked just the other day. Could be more, could be less right now. But the inflation data is definitely going to have a part to play. Regardless, I still think inflation is probably going to rise, even if they cut rates now. But I think that just based off the bad job numbers and the unemployment rate rising, I think they still have to cut rates. And at that point, it's going to be a balancing act at the end of the day to cut rates steadily, but not, spike inflation too much. And so there's still a lot of factors at play, but you can see how much we've outperformed gold. And so you can see exactly that gold has been outperforming for the past, almost year, right? And that people invest in that because there's a lot of uncertainty. The dollar is devaluing. And so in my opinion, we're going to see a flight to safety with crypto very soon, guys. So strap in. There's about to be a lot of good things that are going to happen. Botified says, how do you find any tokens as they come out? So that one, Botified, is a little bit of a combination, right? So you can either watch Dex Screener, you can watch Pump Fun, you can watch the Photon, the Meme Scope. You can monitor those. Those are for the instant tokens come out. Now, in general, I usually wait until there's some type of community or some type of big backing behind a token before I invest versus investing right away. So I'm in a lot of different alpha groups, and therefore I'm able to see some of these tokens earlier than most. But what I do is I'll look at X. I'll see if any token's gaining traction. I'll look at some reputable accounts that have called good tokens in the past. I'll, use wallet tracking. I'll look at my various Telegram groups, see what they're talking about. So really it's just networking at the end of the day and looking at people who have been profitable in the past and what they're talking about. Maybe upcoming projects they're talking about or anything of that sort. What's going on, Dr. Profit? LMT, hi CD. What's your opinion on Pepe right now? It's in a falling wedge on the high time frame. Would this be a good long? If so, what would your stop loss and take profit area be? Thank you, sir. Yeah, so right now, not looking at charts too much for this stream. Tomorrow I will be. But for Pepe, if it's in a descending wedge on a higher time frame and it's respecting those support levels, then what I would do, LMT, is place some limit orders near those support levels if it comes down one more time, and then place your stop loss below that support level on that descending wedge. So I think that Pepe, it's been underperforming, but I think if we start to get some semblance of outperformance with altcoins, we could be in for a nice little surprise. But like I said, it's slowly happening right now where gold's continuing to increase and break out. And then you have people who are going to get away eventually from the dollar, from stocks, and then invest over to crypto. So it's just a matter of time at this point. And Sala, hey, no problem. Hey, GM, Mirza, good to see you here. See, Dr. Profit, no. So no updates on that. No, I know a lot of people have asked about that. So yeah, I am not Luke for the record. I am John Luke. We're different people. So just to make that clear, I know a lot of people ask every stream. Voices sound similar, but we are different people. We'll have a live stream together eventually. Botified says, also, I've only really been trading BTC and ETH, but sometimes the trades take long. Do you have other coins that you're always looking at like these? Yeah, Botified. So yeah, Bitcoin, ETH, I look at Solana, I look at Hype, and then sometimes I look at Sui, or, there's a few others. Even right now, World Liberty Fi, that one has been doing amazing. It had a nice bounce from around 16, 17 cents. So props to anyone that got into that. But yeah, no, it's good to look at a few coins so you can master their price movements, and if they respect their support levels, and it's much easier to trade versus trying to look at 50 coins all the time and try to see what's the best, right? So Claudio, I don't know if you already mentioned this, but how much of your portfolio do you allocate towards these low liquidity projects? So for myself, Claudio, only 10%. So 10% is for memes. So let me go ahead and put a percentage for you guys real quick. So I do 10% Bitcoin, and this is for an aggressive portfolio, mind you, but probably the best in this area. 10% Bitcoin, 10% ETH, 10% SOL, 30% high conviction alts, 20% leverage, 10% memes, and then 10% stables. That's the portfolio allocation there. And that adds up to 100%. So yeah, only 10% into memes. Let's see. See, Devethrian says, need to identify. Let's see. Wait, no, there's a few others. Yeah, Dr. Profit, no updates. Okay. Adrian says, expect reversal on Bitcoin after target price of Head and Shoulders hits and goes up lower or up from here. I think probably up from here, Adrian, would be my bet. So I think we'll at least go to 112.4K right now. And then at that point, if we can close above 112K on the daily, I'll look for at least 115, 116K from there. Teo, cross or isolated on futures? I do isolated, Teo, because cross, it's going to tap into your whole wallet balance. Whereas isolated, you can only lose your position, the money that you've invested in your position. It doesn't tap into your wallet balance to actually keep that leverage going. So yeah, isolate is much safer. Devin3. All right. Looks like we've reconnected. Sorry, guys. Was a little bit disconnected there. But yeah, just basically I was saying that when you look at, say, Ethereum's outperforming, then you can look at, okay, Ethereum tokens are outperforming after that. Or Solana's outperforming. Maybe the Sol Eco tokens will outperform after that. Phillips, let's say any resistance turns support on a coin. If tested the resistance and you are confident it will go up higher, when do you enter then? Any other indicators to enter a trade then? So, yeah, so if it's at resistance and I'm confident it'll go higher, you can wait for just a small pullback at that point, you know, if it won't go to major support per se. Or what you can do is DCA. So enter a little at that resistance, and then, or you can even wait for a breakout trade. Wait for it to break above that resistance and then retest that as support and then buy it at that point. But yeah, DCAing is your friend. And so if it's been a strong performer, just DCA at certain levels. And you can look at like the lower time frame supports, like the 4 hour or 1 hour, then enter it there if you don't think it's going to go to the major supports on the daily. Botified, for coins like World Liberty Fi, what are you looking at for taking profit and stop losses since there isn't much data? So I'll just look at the lower time frames, like the 1 hour or 4 hour, and see, okay, where is it bounced from in the past or rejected from in the past? And then wherever it's rejected, I'll look to take profits along those levels. So like, for example, I think, you know, in round numbers as well, it's like 30 cents, 38 cents, 40 cents, good take profit areas. And everyone's looking for $1 on World Liberty Fi. I don't know if it'll go up that high, but yeah, where has it rejected from in the past on the 15-minute, on the hourly, and look at those major resistance points and then take profit there. Let's see. Jeffrey, I mean, if XRP is at major support in the daily or weekly, could be good trade on there. Benny says, is your strategy and BAS strategy different? Can we learn together or individual? Can you explain a little bit about the live streams on the Gym Hunters? Yeah, so my strategy and BAST, it's, you know, he has his own strategy. I have mine. I focus more on support resistance. He focuses more on like an ICT strategy. So you can use both. Absolutely. Just like you can use the Wyckoff trading method as well, right? There's people who have different strategies. There's no reason why you can't combine them. I would say find one that works for you based off the tokens you're trading. And if it's profitable for you, then go for it, right? It's just all about profitability and what works for you and what you can understand the best. Ghost Rider, dating update on the paid. Yes, Ghost Rider, that is very, very soon. I'm actually finalized. So the website's already done. I'm just finalizing a few other things with that. So stay tuned for that, Ghost Rider. Sprockos, the N1 tool to be safe and fast Padre. Claudio, how's the group going? Any new faces we'll see in there that will serve mentors? Yes, Claudio. Yes, actually. Truelist, what do you think about the trade? No opinion on that. Trulos, Nick, waiting patiently. Thank you for your patience, guys. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate that. Dr. Profit, why XRP suddenly pumped hard today? Any updates on that? I think there's some gaming thing that was going on with him. If someone could actually let me know and check the XRP news and let me know. But yeah, I think someone mentioned something with gaming. Maybe they're getting integrated with certain gaming narrative. Golden Boy says, sir, please TA for suing Farcoin. So right now, not doing TAs on this. It's more of an educational stream for identifying strong performers, but happy to answer questions. And then TA aspect will be for tomorrow for the weekly live stream. Botified. So for like World Liberty Fi, do you have TP or do you sometimes even just market close when you get a decent profit? I was up 40%, but my TP was like 0.25 and hit 0.24ish. At that point, Botified, you could take profits along the way because I have take profit levels based on resistance levels. That's where mine is versus percentages. Now, if your take profit was at a certain point, like 25 cents, and it hit 24, and maybe the indicators are now overbought on like the 4 hour or the hourly, and you're thinking, oh, this may pull back now, then yeah, you could take profit at that point. Or maybe there's some FUD that came out, and then you know the price is going to decline, so you take profit right away, right? It's not black and white where like you have to take profit at certain resistance points. But at the same time, just decide that, okay, is this going to hit or has this been running for a while? The indicators are overbought. We're probably going to have a pullback. It may not reach my level for another couple days or weeks. And at that point, you could just take a little bit off, right? I always say if you're unsure, take half profit and then see what happens from there. Claudio says, what level do you think we need to flip to change the direction of the market from bearish to bullish? So for Bitcoin, a daily close above 112K. Let's see. XSRYF says, should we trade if we suspect market manipulation? If so, what are the best indicators to use to navigate market manipulation? So there's always going to be market manipulation. I just use the RSI, stock RSI if it's oversold, and then the EMA with the 200 and the 500 and the 50 EMA if it's at major support levels as well in the daily or weekly. If all those are in confluence, indicators are oversold, then that is one of the best ways to help prevent market manipulation because everyone else is looking at that same thing, so it's going to be much harder to manipulate the price. Hack says, I hope you're doing well, CD. What are your thoughts on Troll? I appreciate it, Hacks. You as well. No thoughts on Troll. I know actually it was a pretty strong performer just a week or two ago. But right now, I'm not sure how price is doing or the community. I know it was a strong community, though. So it definitely could do well long term. Hey, afternoon, Brian. Good to see you here. Claudio, do you think the shift from ETH to BTC will add liquidity to Bitcoin, raising BTC's price? Yes, I think so. I think Bitcoin dominance rising, like Benjamin Cohen was saying earlier. I think it'll have a rise on Bitcoin's price, and then everything else is probably going to underperform. Exactly, Adrian. 100%. Bitcoin's going to have a big move because of Bitcoin dominance. Absolutely. Mirza, at what MCAP do the axiom metrics of a token, such as insiders, bundlers, and snipers, become irrelevant and okay to ape into? I see some big coins like Fartcoin, useless, etc., that look horrible on axiom. So I say for those, for example, Mirza, those metrics such as insiders, bundlers, and snipers become irrelevant. Probably, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, maybe after a token reaches, I mean, I would say they're always relevant if someone holds a large supply, but having less of an effect, maybe 10 million and maybe the point. But yeah, I mean, anytime someone has a large percentage and can dump the price, there's always that risk there. So preferably if you can get them out below 1 mil, and then from there, you could buy higher once they're out. That could be a play as well. Let's see. Tim says, what should be our goals for portfolio growth every year / quarter? So realistically, Tim, a 2 to 3x on your total portfolio should be a realistic goal. Now, if you're going aggressive, 5 to 10x. I would say any more than 10x, it can happen, but you just need to be realistic on that. So realistically, for every year, 2 to 3, I would say 2 to 5x every year. Every quarter, maybe at least 50% up on your portfolio every quarter. See, Deventhrian says, what's your opinion on the no more 4-year cycles as we now have crypto-friendly governments all over the world? I think crypto will continue to all-time highs with full time. Yeah, so I think similar. I think that it's going to be an extended super cycle, especially as the dollar is devaluing and gold continues higher. It just shows and emulates that. But as far as no more 4-year cycles, I think that the bear market is going to be a lot shorter and the bull market is going to be a lot longer. I think that. I don't know if it's going to be no more bear market because people have to take profit, right? So we're going to have some type of pullback, but I don't know if it's going to be as deep. Hey, what's going on? Dreamer family is doing great. Thanks for asking. Hope yours is doing good as well. Claudio, at what point price would you withdraw your 2026 extended bull run prediction and accept that the bull run is over? I mean, honestly, it's hard to say a price per se, but Bitcoin 250K and Ethereum 10 to 15K. That would be my areas. Eric, hey Data, have you heard anything of Volt XVM? It shot up to 140 mil market cap and was at 2 mil MCAP a few days ago. I actually haven't, Eric. I need to check that because I was out of town. Jeffrey, thoughts on Pengu? I'm bullish on Pengu for Q4. I think a good entry is between 2.5 to 2.7 cents and then a stop loss at 2.4 cents. Riz says, hey Data, never got to catch these Australian time. Thoughts on Link and Ondo? I'm bullish on Link and actually fairly bullish on Ondo as well. I'm bullish on both of those. Tim, hey, no problem, Tim. Adrian, Data on paid group. Soon, Adrian, soon. I know, guys. I know. It's like GTA 6, like delaying like that. But yeah, next few days, please. Thank you for the interest. It's very motivating for myself, just adding a lot of stuff that I'm doing right now. So yes, soon, Adrian. EF says, I've got $1,400 to throw into crypto itself, and I've already got $650 in Ethereum and 50 in XRP. The 1.4K that I've got left, should I divide into Bitcoin and Sol? And what price points should I enter? Yeah, Bitcoin and Sol is good. I mean, Bitcoin, you could say 110K if you can get there. And then Solana, if you can get, I mean, right now it's not a bad price, honestly, and you're 200, 198, 200. But for Solana, if you can get it 185, that'd be a great area as well. So let's go over the rest of these real quick. Just have one more slide here, and then I'll answer the last questions. But for identifying strong performers, guys, risk management is also very important. And so I mentioned that portfolio allocation. If you scroll up a little bit, you can see my comment from Jim Hunters. 10% Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol, and then 30% high conviction alts, 20% leverage, 10% memes, and 10% stables. So diversifying across different sectors and chains is very important, such as meaning diversifying in AI coins, RWA coins, L1s, L2s, etc., and then different chains. Now, the chains that I like to look at are Solana, Ethereum, and Base. Those are the main ones for myself. Those ones have the most volume, but obviously you can choose different ones. So just make sure you're diversifying across various ones, and then if you're not diversifying across various chains, just make sure it's across various sectors or just various coins in general. Position sizing and stop losses. So guys, remember, we mentioned never put all your eggs in one basket. Make sure you're diversifying your position sizing. So like I said, for those coins, if you're investing 30% of your portfolio into high conviction alts, maybe only do 2 or 3% into each altcoin, right? So position sizing has to match based off your conviction level for that altcoin. Now, stop losses, if you're trading spot, I like to tell everyone, you're going to expect a lot of volatility, right? You're holding for the long term, 3 to 6 months plus. And so you're probably going to have 50% downturns if you're holding spot, just realistically. And so at that point, where's your stop loss going to be? Are you going to put it below 50%? Can you only stomach 25%? Are you holding something long-term, short-term, etc.? Just make sure you have some stop loss in place, but know that there will be volatility, especially if you're holding long-term. Assess a project's roadmap and deliverables. Is this project consistently meeting their deadlines? If they have a mainnet, are they launching on that day, or are they delaying it? Or they have catalysts? Are they adding new features, right? What is their roadmap, and have they been delivering? That's something as well to identify strong performers. Then also staying updated on regulations and security risks. Just like with XRP, they had their regulation risk with the SEC, right? They had their case for years, and they finally got that acquitted, and the case is dropped, and now XRP is doing well. Just look at today, like you guys were saying. And so look at regulations and how they're affecting whatever token you're looking to invest in. And then the security risk. So also you have things such as, USDT. Whenever you had the MiCA laws come into effect, where it made exchanges delist USDT on those EU exchanges. So that security risk, where does Tether actually have the funds to back it, or are they, is it just being, I don't know, is there some control that's trying to be had over them? Therefore, there's not as much risk, but nonetheless, there is still something there. So I know it's a stable coin, but just saying in general, if there's any security risk that happen with the token, and there's any vulnerabilities maybe, well, you'd probably best get out of that token. For the record, I don't think anything's wrong with Tether, just using that as an example when you could have potential security risks at play. So tying everything together, strong performers have a combination of fundamentals, community strength, on-chain health, and technical resilience. And if you integrate all of this, then you can identify projects with the best potential for long-term growth. So make sure you guys are implementing all of these, right? Like we talked about, the on-chain metrics, the community and sentiment, the technical indicators, the charting those trading pairs. How do they perform relative to Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana? Risk management. Are you diversifying accordingly and staying up to date on any regulations or security risks, and their roadmaps and deliverables? How they've been consistently meeting those deadlines. So like I said, guys, this is very important when identifying strong performers. And when you implement all of these, it makes it much easier to hold certain tokens. All right, let's see. Mirza says, is it really realistic that tokens like ETH would be at 10K? Wouldn't that make it like one of the biggest assets in the entire world? Yeah, if so. But again, where's Bitcoin at that time, right? I mean, Ethereum would be getting closer to Bitcoin's market cap at that point. So it's already number 2 in the world. And so for it to go higher, especially if we have the Ethereum staking ETF that gets approved, which I believe it'll be approved in Q4 because BlackRock applied for it. Their record's 576 to 1. And that would mean institutions can now stake their Ethereum and get more yield. And that also introduces rehypothecation, where they can keep restaking their Ethereum, getting more yield. And so, guys, that would instantly pump Ethereum $500 to 1K whenever that news comes out, whenever that ETF gets approved. So that's something, right? So you have different catalysts, even the interest rate cuts coming up, etc. There's a lot of things coming up. It's going to be a few unknowns, but once they do come to fruition, it's going to have a very positive effect on price. Spotify, if you're long, let's see, if you're in a long, are you take profit 100% or just 50%, like you said? But what are you looking for as far as price breaking through? Yeah, so the biggest thing here is just taking profit at various resistance points modified. So that's why I have 3 take profit levels. And then I just take 50% on the first take profit, 25% on the second, 25% on the third. Then I'm fully out. Now, I know Kincaid likes to keep moon bags, and so you can keep a moon bag as well, and just at the last take profit, maybe keep 10% left just in case price keeps going higher. But base it off of how many major resistance points are left, right? Like for World Liberty Fi, I believe the highest it reached was 40 cents, maybe a little bit higher than that. So that there's gonna be a lot of take profit near that level. So maybe instead of 50% take profit, maybe 60% or 70. And knowing if a price is going to break through, what do the indicators say? Are the indicators overbought already? So you're probably going to have a pullback at resistance, or are indicators still at the 50 or 60 level on the daily or weekly? And then there's still a lot more room to go. So you just have to judge it based off of that, based off of the catalyst currently happening, based off the hype, based off of upcoming catalysts, etc. So there's a lot of things that come into play. Deventhrien says, totally agree. Excited to think about the crypto going mainstream, and it'll be a long-term holding asset. Absolutely. It's going to be one of the biggest global assets in the world. Claudia, will there be any ICT Wyckoff trades in the group? I don't believe so, but I'm not opposed to getting some. Eric, hey, Data, football just started. What's your favorite team? Ah, nice. Little Sunday football. My favorite team, you know, Eric, I don't watch it as much. I would say when Brady was in, it was the Patriots. But right now, I mean, I don't really have a favorite one. I mean, funny enough. So I'll just have to look at who's playing today and decide which state I like the best. But what's going on, Luca? Yeah, that Blood Moon is coming. Ghost Rider, would you buy if Tim Hortons made a utility coin? No, so here's the thing, Ghost Rider. So a lot of these celebrities, they'll make tokens, and I'm sure you guys know, they dump nearly immediately. Like, they're very extractionary. You know, they have a lot of max extraction going on with those tokens. So anytime a celebrity or big figure launches a token, be careful, guys. Be careful, because that token is just going to go to zero. So just get your profits and get out if you are trading it. Mirza, what are some strong performers that you yourself have identified on this next leg up? Not counting Bitcoin, Eat, Soul, Sui, Hype, World, Liberty, Fi. Great question, Mirza. So there's a few, even KTA was doing fairly well before it had the big pullback. There's been a lot of FUD events with that. But, I mean, even just looking at, for example, like on Solana, you have DeFi Tuna. So if you search up DeFi Tuna, one of my friends is actually the CEO, the owner of that, and it's been performing very well. I mean, I think it's around 40 million market cap right now. It's been nearly up only after the initial dip it had. And so DeFi Tuna is a good one. It's a staking platform on Ethereum, liquidity provider platform. But that one's been doing well. Even Bucky has been holding up very, very well. It's a meme coin on Solana. I know Donnie, he's a CTO lead of it currently. He's very, very good trader. And so make sure to follow him on X if you haven't. I'll go over some X accounts as well. But he's very good. And so Bucky, DeFi Tuna. And then I'm trying to think of a few others off the top of my head. There's probably some others that I'm not thinking about right now. But yeah, there still are strong performers, just relative to like other meme coins, right? And other utility tokens. That's what I look for when I look for strong performers and ones that hold their value and have shown consistency, especially resiliency in the face of downturns or big flushes in the market. So yeah, those two probably good right now. Thoughts on Jupe, says Hootie. Really not bullish or bearish on Jupe. I mean, if you're bullish on Solana, you should be bullish on Jupiter, most likely, or Radium. I'll say Radium is a good beta play for Solana if you're bullish on that. And then Eric said, with the Sigma bot now accepting SOL, will you be making more SOL calls? Yes, Eric. Yes. So, for example, for anyone who, and let me go over to my X account real quick. Okay, here we go. So, for example, for anyone not following me on X at the CryptoData, definitely do so. I post a lot of good content on here. You can see I have my pinned message here, but I also post about the Blood Moon. I post about some good quotes as well. If you guys haven't seen this quote from Dune, this is probably one of the best quotes that I've seen in a movie. And so definitely check this one out on my X account if you haven't. And also check my analysis as well for a few other things. But yeah, guys, it's what I would say for your question on Sigma bot. Yeah, they recently introduced Solana for trading as well, which I do love. So I'm actually a partner with them, as you can see. If you click on here, I'm actually partnering with Sigma. So they're very good. If you actually go to my pinned message, you'll see I actually posted a message here in my TG where I posted about Sigma, and I posted a lot of information about them. So check that pinned message if you haven't in my Telegram, and click on the link if you want to sign up for Sigma. It's the best bot for trading, period. So yes, I will be making a lot more calls from there as well. So definitely check that out, guys. But let's see what else. So Ghost Rider says, but Tim Hortons is a multi-billion-dollar coffee company with outlets in Canada. I mean, what if they made a utility crypto coin, which one you say, for example, is a reward for dining or drive-through? I mean, Ghost Rider, that could be something, right? I mean, that could be something if they integrate it that way. It just depends what the utility is and what the longevity and, you know, you could say what the viability is that's going to last, right? And if enough people, if they're integrating that into their company and into their logistics, it'll definitely do good. But how much attention is it going to have, and the need of the token? Is the token needed to buy the coffee or rewards or what have you? So there's just a lot of aspects that go into play. But being in a very rotation heavy market, I could say it could do good for a few days, maybe a week. But then after that, it's going to be people rotating. So it just depends, right? I mean, but never say never. Niraj says, do you track bond yields, stock markets? If yes, I have a question. So bond yields, I track treasury yields. I believe they're near 5% right now, the 10-year. And there's a couple things going on with those. But yeah, I track stock markets a little bit as well. I mean, gold reaching all-time highs right now. The S&P nearing all-time highs. So yeah, I'll take your question if you got it. Claudio says, if the consensus is that liquidity will be shifting away from ETH, would it be wise to sell Solana? I bought at 180 and sell it at 200, then buy back later in October when Sol's at a lower price. Potentially, Claudio. I know that Benjamin Cohen is saying that Bitcoin dominance is going to rise from here. and that would mean that ETH and others bleed relative to it. Now, they don't necessarily have to bleed per se like in the red. They could just underperform percentage-wise versus Bitcoin. But nonetheless, what I'm waiting for, Claudio, is to see ETF flows on Monday. So if ETF flows are positive for Ethereum again, maybe we'll have some more bullishness. But if they're negative, then that's something, unfortunately, that wouldn't be the best, right? That'd be something where I'm going to look at relative flows, Bitcoin versus ETH. If there's more inflows for Bitcoin versus Ethereum, obviously that's a clear indication that Bitcoin's going to outperform. But if inflows are better for Ethereum than for Bitcoin, then Ethereum's probably going to outperform. So yeah, just if you want, Claudio, you could make a stop loss, let's say at 194 for Solana. That way, if we pull back, you still lock in your profits and then go from there, and then look to buy at 185 if it gets there, or 180. And so that would be my best advice for that. Hey, no problem, Botified. Appreciate it. Glad you're learning. And yeah, guys, if you guys haven't liked the stream, definitely like it. Helps out a lot. Got 68 viewers, 52 likes. So much appreciated if you can do that. Mirza says, do you think Bitcoin will pump this month and then next month we'll have liquidity slowly starting to flow over into alts? I think it's possible. I think we're getting in the final rotation of Bitcoin, and then eventually, because Bitcoin dominance was bleeding for the past month or two. So eventually we'll have that flow back into Bitcoin, and then I think mid to end October, we'll see alts outperform again. Rock says, what's your POV on ETH? You know, ETH right now, it's been holding that 4,300 level. If it closes below that on the daily, I would look at least the 4,000 level. From there, I'll look at around 3,800. I know that Benjamin Cohen thinks it's going to go to 3,500. It's major support band. So that's possible as well. So yeah, if you're looking to buy Ethereum, I would DCA all the way down to 3,500. So say 4,300 is the first level, 4,000, 3,800, and then 3,500. That would be my DCA points. Teo says, is it choppy for anyone else? Yeah, the stream could be a little choppy, especially I'm on my laptop, but that will be changing very soon, guys. I'm going to change my desktop. The office floor is already installed. Now I'm going to install everything today as far as the desk and everything. So yeah, quality is going to be much better on these live streams. It's going to be not laggy at all. DocuEarth says, big Dune fan. Yeah, Dune honestly is one of the best movies I've seen. Also great books, and I like the second movie as well. Like, yeah, it's an awesome thing. My dad got me into Dune for the first movie because he was an avid book reader of the series. So glad you guys like Dune. It's one of the best movies and best books. Eric, do you think Trump fights against Venezuela would cause Black Swan? I don't think so, no. Because Venezuela is not a huge country. It's not like Trump. It's not like U.S. versus China or U.S. versus Russia or, sorts. It's a smaller country, and everyone knows there's cartels running the government right now. Maduro is a regime there that forcefully took over. So, no. It would be swiftly taken care of if there was anything going on from them. Hey, what's going on, Pino? Good to see you here. Riz, I'm waiting to buy back into Link and Ondo following CPI. There you go. Yeah, CPI numbers, Riz, thanks for the reminder. It's going to be a big indication as well. So Riz says he kept BTC. Good. Yeah, BTC is going to outperform here, guys. Like, there's an inverse head and shoulders pattern on the daily. It looks very good. I posted about it as well in my market updates. So if you guys didn't check those on the Telegram as well, check that. And yeah, if you guys haven't joined the Gem Hunters free group, definitely join that. Links in the description. Also, if you want to join the Gem Hunters paid group, it's 1 Ethereum for a yearly subscription. More meme coin calls, leverage calls, 24/7 concierge service, gym reports, etc. So definitely check out that. And then also, we do have the BloFin referral links and the bot referral links in the description as well. Niraj says bond yields are rising all over the world, which means trust is decreasing among investors for the central banks. Do you think a crash may come in the stock market all over the world? Niraj, yes, a very good point as well that you talked about bond yields and them rising. And guys, like, just all you have to do is look at gold and see gold has been reaching all-time highs after all-time highs. Gold doesn't do this consistently, right? Like, this is something that's out of the ordinary, and this is something that happens before you have some type of dollar destabilization or some type of currency debasement. And this is something that happens when you have the big rotation between certain assets and before you have big crashes. And so, like you said, investors aren't confident in central banks. And so what does that mean? That's going to mean that people are going to flock to Bitcoin, guys. It's already starting right now. You're seeing gold start to break some important resistance levels like golden crosses, etc. And you're going to eventually see people are going to flow from stocks into crypto, and that is going to be the safe haven. It's going to happen very soon. It's going to be much larger than anyone expects, and prices are going to go much higher than anyone expects. And so make sure you guys are ready for the rotation. Not many people are asking about it. This is probably the first time you've heard it at this scale and this confidence level that I'm having right now, because a lot of people think we topped in the market already. We haven't topped in the market. Bitcoin's going a lot higher, and you're going to see that rotation. And literally the market is telegraphing it with the price of gold right now. And like Niraj said, bond prices, bond yields rising all over the world. So you just got to look at the data, guys. And the data is screaming. Investors are uncertain. They're unconfident in central banks. Where do you think they're going to put their money? Going to put it into crypto, specifically Bitcoin, Ethereum, and others. Hootie says, what are your thoughts on Trump's health condition? I think he's fine. I know there was a lot of news articles that came out that was saying his health is in question, but I do think that he's fine. And I'm not sure what happened to him initially. If anything happened to him, I know he was golfing when he was away. I don't know if there's anything else though, but I do think right now he is fine and he has the best health coverage in the world. Brendan says 30-year Treasury T-bill, exactly. A lot of interesting numbers and data to look at, guys, that are telegraphing some big things are going to happen. Rock says, hey, bro, I want to buy ETH on spot. What price would you recommend? Yeah, 4,300, 4,000, 3,800, and 3,500 rocks. Niraj, last crash was in 2020. We are in second half of 2025. It's 5.5 years. A pullback crash due in the next 6 to 12 months. Yes, Niraj, absolutely. I think my opinion of the top in the market is May of 2026, which also coincides with Jerome Powell leaving. And funny enough, the GTA 6 release, which would be poetic if it marking the top. Right? Wouldn't that be poetic? I mean, I think the extension of the interest rate cuts, I should say the lack of interest rate cuts until now, is one of the reasons why this cycle is going to be extended. If we would have cut rates in July, maybe things would have been different. But the fact that we've extended rate cuts until now or until September, and then plus you have those other catalysts and then everything else happening the way it is with gold, with bond yields, T-bills, etc., then yeah, I think within 6 to 12 months, we'll see a top. Spotify, do you short coins as well? I feel like you mostly focus on longs. Is there a reason? So when you're in a bull market, I focus on longs from pullbacks. I'd rather long as support than try to short at resistance in a bull market because usually we don't have as big of pullbacks. But yeah, I mean, I will start looking for shorts as well. But yeah, just for myself, I try to trade the safest way, and that's longing at those major support levels. Eric says, when do you think Bitcoin will come down and tap that CME gap at 92, 93K? Probably not till May or June of 2026, Eric. It's probably going to be a while before it taps that. I don't even know if it'll tap it this month. I think the lowest it could go this month is around 100K, 100 to 104K. Eric says, when do you think Bitcoin will come? Yep. Let's see. Niraj says, exactly. Gold and stock market both rising, which is odd. It should be inversely proportional, but this is very fishy. The bull stock market that is currently happening. Exactly, Niraj. It is very interesting what's happening because, like you said, they're usually inversely proportional. Now, I will say the DXY, the strength of the dollar, is still relatively inversely proportional to Bitcoin, which is good. But even that, it hasn't been a 1-to-1, right? It's maybe 70%. Botified says, what does it mean for BTC or other coins to top? It means that that's the highest price they're going to reach before the bear market starts. So like we topped out in January of 2018, December 2017, and then price fell afterwards. That's what it means. It means it's basically the cycle top and price is going to be in a downtrend for the next 6 to 12 months plus. Nick, what are good time windows to DCA and to spot Bitcoin? So time windows per se, I mean, I would not necessarily say like specific times, but look at major support levels in the daily or weekly, and then you can DCA at those levels. Claudio, how do you feel about people comparing this to the 2021 top? I don't know if you've seen that on your X feed. You know, there was actually a fractal that was very close to the 2020 and 2021 top. So I do know what you're talking about, and it is very possible, but it's just, I mean, we have different metrics at play here, like the ETFs, like the government being pro-crypto, the regulations, the bills being passed, the Genius Act, the Clarity Act now, potentially into September, the ETH staking ETF, the SOL ETFs, right? There's a lot more different metrics at play. And yeah, you could say, oh, this time is different, haha, right? Because everyone says that. But I do think there are still some variables at play that could lead to an extended cycle. So while, yes, there is some validity to the 2021 top, I don't think it's going to be a cycle top. I think it could be a local top and then continue higher after the pullback. Tim says, I'm in TTWO for GTA 6. Growth stocks don't seem like they've been performing well. Would that mean anything? Growth stocks, you know, I don't know if that would mean anything, Tim. Maybe it would just speak to maybe investor confidence of how much it thinks that, you know, growth stocks have left to appreciate. That could be something. As far as big narratives for the stock market, I think quantum stocks and robotics, stocks that are deep into robotics, that's going to be the next frontier. And so look at investing in those, quantum and robotics. That's going to be a big field for stocks over the next 3 to 5 years. Rox, what do you think ETH's price will reach out max? 10 to 15K by May 2026. Greenland Shark says, y'all need to factor in Ukraine, Russia back in 2022. There you go. That as well. Yeah, very good point, Greenland. Very good point. Eric, G33 is a guy who likes numerology and says he predicted the crash of Bitcoin in 2014 when it crashed 80 to 90% after it hit 1K. He's saying that it will happen again because of 12-year cycle, so 2026 all-time high, then crash. There you go, Eric. That's matching with what I'm seeing is a 2026 crash. Sometime within there, potentially mid-2026 is what I'm looking at. So keep that in mind. That's what I'm checking out. Let's see. Thoughts and check out that video. I'll check out that video, Eric. Definitely send me a DM on X as well, and I'll check out that video. Just, yeah, DM me at the CryptoData, and I'll check that as well. Again, guys, if you aren't following me on my X account, follow me on there. Check my pinned message. I have a lot of info that I post, and I make sure to keep you guys apprised of information all the time. So definitely check that out, and then follow the Gym Hunters free Telegram in the description, and the paid group if you want to join it. Second link in the description. But with that, I'll see if anyone else has any other questions. Brandon says, Doge Wyckoff ACC, continue DM if you want. Yeah, if you could, Brendan, that'd be awesome. And I'll check that out as well. So again, guys, if you haven't liked the stream, please like it. That'd help out a lot. But I do appreciate all of you for watching and for the support. Again, it means a lot. I try to give you guys the best info I can. I try to keep you guys apprised because there is so much information and so much back and forth that's going on. But at the end of the day, the main thing we went over today was how to identify strong performers. So this video will be recorded and it will be on the Gym Hunters YouTube channel. Just go into the live tab and you'll see it there probably in the next hour after I end the stream. Niraj says, did you watch Benjamin's dubious ETH prediction, your view? I haven't. I'll actually watch that and see what he thinks. But yeah, let me know real quick what price he's thinking for ETH. And then Riz says, thank you, Data, for all the info. Definitely help with the RWAs. Hey, appreciate you, Riz. Yeah, real world assets, that's going to be a big narrative as well. Like Ondo, C-Pool, even Maple Syrup, or, Maple Syrup Finance, right? Syrup is a ticker. That's even another good RWA token. But yeah, RWA is going to be the future as well. Tokenizing assets on the blockchain like cars, houses, jewelry, watches, etc. And we're going to see more people integrate blockchain into their tech, just like with the government integrating blockchain into their, regulatory and their, their different tracking for their different reports and everything, the integrated blockchain tech, which is very good. So Pino says, thanks, JL, for all the info. Much appreciated. Hey, no problem. Niraj says 34 to 3,500 by the end of September. So yeah, Niraj, that's definitely possible. I saw Benjamin Cohen say 3,500 for ETH, and that's very possible. He's been extremely accurate in the past, and so it would not surprise me if that is the case this time around again. With that said, guys, I mean, DCA into ETH accordingly. Like I said, you could DCA a little here, and then at 4,000, 3,800, and 3,500. But Benjamin Cohen is definitely an accurate guy. So 3,500 by the end of September, it's not out of the realm of possibility, especially seeing as September is historically a bearish month, and you have interest rate cuts coming up, which people are front running. So Divian says, retirement funds, ETFs, rate cuts, money printing, so much money to come into crypto. Invested every extra fiat I have into crypto, hoping Bitcoin to 2 to 50K this cycle. Same here, Devinthrian. It's only a matter of time, right? Greenland says legal infrastructure. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, for Ukraine, Russia. So keep that in mind for the legal infrastructure, Greenland, for that blockchain integration. Thanks for reminding me of that. But thank you guys again so much for watching. Appreciate all of you. Love you guys. And again, I'll keep you guys updated for these market updates in my group as well. Make sure you guys are following me. If you haven't, join the group, pin message, and I will let you guys know what's going on. Also, tomorrow is going to have a weekly market overview stream. That's where I'm going to go over the charts and everything that's happened in the market over the past week and what I think over the next few weeks. So stay tuned for that as well. That one should be at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time for the free group. So check that out. Make sure you guys are there. We'll make a post today as well for it so you guys can get ready for that. But thank you guys. And last question, Vasil says 3x cross on ETH and just DCA. I would be wary of doing cross, honestly, Visage. I would be better off doing isolated for 3x and then DCAing after that. So that'd be my advice for that. But thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And I will talk to you guys soon. Have a great weekend. See ya.